Hello, Coachella Valley, and welcome to Live with Your Chamber. I'm your host, Katie Stice, CEO at the amazing Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce, and we have a great show for you today. We've loved bringing you this live series throughout the pandemic and even now coming out of it. This is a great opportunity to talk to local experts, meet local businesses, talk to nonprofits, learn about their services, hear about what's going on with the health of our community from medical personnel, dignitaries. So I just want to say thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks to our sponsors, KESQ News Channel 3 and CBS Local 2 as well. Today we have an incredible guest. He's one of my favorites. I have a feeling most of you already know him. If you don't, his name is Matt Johnson with Johnson Commercial Real Estate right here in Rancho Mirage. We're going to talk about what is going on with commercial real estate because, wow, it is really exciting. Lots of changes happening. So let's bring in our guest, Matt Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. And even before we begin with introducing you, I just have to tell everyone who's out there watching, Matt Johnson is also past chairman of the board for the Chamber of Commerce. So thank you so much for all of your service.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of interesting work through the pandemic. Right. We all learned a lot together. That's for sure.
We sure did. And just can't thank you enough for all of your leadership. So let's get started with this whole commercial real estate industry. How long have you been in the business, and where has it all been in the Coachella Valley or throughout?
Sure. I've been in the commercial real estate business over 30 years. And in Johnson Commercial Real Estate, we do land sales, development business, leasing, management, investment sales. Essentially, we help business owners and investors with commercial real estate properties.
And how did you get into the industry?
Interestingly, I moved to the Coachella Valley in 1982. And I built geothermal power plants down in Brough and CalBRE area. And there was a leveraged buyout on Unical, and they were going to sell off the geothermal. So I decided to change industries, worked with a headhunter, and determined that the most important thing to me was to stay here in the Coachella Valley. Then I just had to reimagine myself. I used my engineering background to get into the land development and land sales business.
Oh, love it. Very good. Well,
Yes.
You're a wealth of knowledge. And you were just saying before we were starting, you started listing all of the projects you've done. And it was like, what, 75 pages, 80 pages long?
3 pages. But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed working with a lot of businesses, working with a lot of investors here in town. We've done a number of things. We built the Tradition Aviation, now Ross Aviation at Thermal Airport. I built the Chuckwalla Valley Raceway out in Desert Center. Yeah. Recently, I took a 40,000 square foot office complex in Rancho Mirage, remodeled it, converted it to office condominiums, sold that to a bunch of people. And I did a 30-acre truss manufacturing plant down in Indio. Still a partner in that project. So it's been a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, at the Chamber of Commerce, we're all about business. How can you help local business owners?
That's a great question, Katie. Most businesses, unless it's something internet-based, they need a place of business, a retail place for their restaurant, a manufacturing place for their business, or an office space, stuff like that. My job is to help a business owner like Virginia Nelson from Edward Jones. She's looking for a little office space. My job is to find her a small office space. And you don't make a lot of money finding someone a small office space, but my job is to become Virginia's real estate expert so that 3 years from now, when she needs a bigger office space, she calls me. I get her out of the little one and into the medium-sized one, and then she grows her business, and I get her out of the medium-sized one and into the bigger one, and then she decides to buy a building, and then she becomes an owner in a building, and then I'm working with a guy right now. He's got a 27,000 square foot manufacturing facility that I built many, many years ago. Wow. He's now retiring, and then he's going to sell his business. The business is going to move to Tennessee. I'm going to put a new tenant in his building, and he's going to become an investor and collect rent checks every month.
And speaking of that, I mean, how do you really help with getting people to be investors? Is it just that timeline right there?
No, it's not. It's not just business owners turned investors. There a lot. Somebody owns every single one of these commercial real estate buildings here in town,
Mhm.
and those buildings trade like any other investment. And my job is to find an investor who wants to, own a property, and then my job is to find him a good tenant. Not all businesses can or want to own their place of business.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
businesses, matter of fact, most national firms, their margins are actually higher than the value of the real estate. So they don't spend their money on real estate; they spend their money on their business. And so my job is to find tenants and then put them together with a lease agreement. And I tell all of my landlords and all of my tenants, a lease agreement is a partnership agreement. You guys are now partners.
Yep.
It has to be a win-win. It has to be good for the investor, has to be good for the tenant. And if it is, it winds up being a long-term and everybody wins. And that's what it's all about.
Great. And you chatted a little bit about some of the developments that you've already done in the past, your 3,000 pages. But what are you working on now? What are some of the exciting things that you can share with
Well,
us?
I'm building a new building for Southwest Plumbing. They're
Oh,
a major plumbing
huge.
contractor here in town.
Mhm.
I'm building a new building for Classic Cupboards, which is a cabinet guy, furniture distributor doing that. Oh, most exciting, I have partnered with Alan Grant. Do you know who Alan Grant is?
I don't think so. I
Alan
should.
Grant was on Carroll Shelby's race team back in the
Oh my God.
60s
Okay.
when they beat Ferrari for the first time
Wow.
using the Ford GT.
Yeah.
Um, Alan's got a little miniature museum up here, and Alan owns the original prototype to the Ford GT, and so it's super exciting. So he's basically a racing kind of legend. I went to I had breakfast with him up in Vegas at one of the trade shows, and I'm sitting there having breakfast, and people walking by asking if they can have his signature. So Alan's a pretty
Wow.
cool dude.
That is
We're doing Grant Toy Garages, which is 36 industrial condominiums. We're building those down there by Del Webb
okay.
in Palm Desert.
Okay.
And we're going to build those, and you can store your race cars, your boats, your RVs, any of
Wow.
your toys. So that's the Grant Toy Garages. We should break ground next week.
Congratulations. I mean,
Yeah,
really, it's been so fun to learn more about you as chair of the board last year, and to watch how you've built this empire. And you and I have talked just over lunch casually, and you're like a puzzle guy. You like to put things together and make it all work. And so
exactly.
it's cool after you said that to watch you do it. What does the future of commercial real estate look like to you?
It's really interesting. Some of the the rents have been increasing, 20% year over year over year over year, and that's not sustainable. But some of the rents are still not to the level that they were in 2006.
Okay.
So the economy that recession that hit us in 2007, I tell people all the time, we ran out of money in 2007, but I didn't figure it out till 2008.
Uh,
We were so busy, but that really hurt the Coachella Valley, really hurt the industry in terms of commercial real estate, and the rents were just decimated. We were charging 39 cents per square foot per month for rents back then, which is now $1. But it's still not $1.25, which what it was in 2006. So the interesting thing is there's been no new significant construction since 2006.
well,
So a lot of it's been the shuffling around. We
okay.
did have the big green rush or pot rush, where a bunch of people ran out and thought they were going to do a bunch of pot stuff. That
Yep.
didn't work out.
Yep.
A lot of those guys have blown out, and it's gone back to regular uses. But we've seen significant increase in construction costs.
Mhm.
So the challenge has been now is being able to build something in a cost-effective way, and the rents just aren't quite there yet. So we're getting there.
And what about inventory? I mean, I've talked with you a lot. We've had, so for everyone who's out there watching at the chamber, we get a lot of calls. Hey, we're looking for this, we're looking for that. And so I just helped my commercial real estate, members, let's go. What is that looking like now if people are looking for an office like Virginia, or if someone's looking for a massive space?
Yeah, the massive space is difficult. We don't have very many large facilities. As a matter of fact, right now, Eisenhower is, what's a polite way to say kicking people out? Asking people to leave. They're vacating entire floors for some of their new operations. I'm getting calls from doctors. We need places to go.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody's building anything. It's, our inventory supply is very tight. I would say from a vacancy standpoint, less than 1% in industrial, probably 10% in office. And with office, there comes some functional obsolescence. People don't use offices today the way they used offices 30 years ago, which is when the buildings that are out there are built. I just leased a big office space. They had an entire wall, an entire law library. And when the lawyers who were in there left, they left all the books.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a beautiful showpiece, but A, nobody uses books anymore. B, nobody needs a library anymore. We ripped it all out and threw it away. It was amazing.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, and I mean, there is development happening, but just not development in the commercial real estate realm, right? I mean,
there is some commercial real estate, but you'll see, a small one here, a small one there. We just built a new building for desert hematology oncology a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Very, very specialized way they need it. There was no other building that would work for them. So I found them the piece of land. We built the building for them. They're in there. They love it. It's perfect. So you'll see that one-off specialty build to suit, they call that.
Got it.
But what we're not seeing is someone go build a big 50,000 square foot office building looking for tenants.
And that's what I was just going to ask. I mean, if you had your wish, what would be being developed right now?
Well, the biggest, hottest item in the Coachella Valley and the state of California and the United States is industrial. There's a very large firm out of LA, Majestic, who is here in town, and they're buying up all the big 40, 80 acre parcels of land, and they're going to put in some big industrial.
Interesting. Very good. And is there anything else that you want to leave people with about just the commercial real estate industry? I mean, if they're looking and they're thinking they're needing something next year, should they start now?
If you're a business operating here in town, I can be essentially your real estate department.
Okay.
And it doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
I can provide you all the data. I can provide you all the information. I can show you where you could go. I can show you what it costs in certain locations. So you can focus on your business, and I will help you with your real estate needs. And if you're an investor, this is a wonderful place to invest in commercial real estate. However, you got to be mindful. We do have some ups and downs.
And
those ups and downs
or other. Meaning the summer or other ups and downs?
No, just the economic swings are accentuated here. When the economy drops a little bit in the United States, it drops a lot in the Coachella Valley because this is a tertiary market. We've got a lot of people who are vacationing here. It's not the primary job is here. We've got the Coachella Valley Economic Partnership, which is working to develop more businesses here, so we have a more stabilized economy and not just tourism and agriculture.
Right.
We're developing all these other businesses. The Cal State Palm Desert, which is phenomenal. That's what we need. We need the youth of the Coachella Valley to get educated in the Coachella Valley and then stay in the Coachella Valley.
And you're right. It's all about I think the desert, one of the main things we learned from this time, the pandemic time, is that we need to have diverse income streams from lots of different places, whether that's the tourism industry, attractions, things of that nature, but business and industry. And really, I don't think we have a lot of manufacturing, do we?
We do. We're developing more and more manufacturing in the Thousand Palms and Indio areas.
Great. And
yes.
Because there's most of the land that's available, right?
That was 10 years ago, that's where the land was and is still. That's where some of the big buildings got built. We had the IID lower cost utilities. We used to have the Riverside County Economic Development Zone, and then the low cost employees, and because the housing costs were low out here, but now the housing costs are so. Yeah, it's always a puzzle.
Which is your jam, which is
exactly.
your thing. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us today, and everyone who's out there watching. Matt Johnson's information is down below. Website, johnsoncommercial.net, and his office number as well. And he's got koozies, of course, at the
I got
lobby.
koozies.
And you're right across from In-N-Out. So if you need to have a meeting, you can go across the street and have a burger if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, my conference room used to have mountain views. Now I have a view of the drive-through.
Which is so lovely. And I love the palm trees and all of it. But hey,
it's
Matt,
beautiful.
Thank you for joining us today and filling us in on what's happening with commercial real estate. Promise to come back as things continue to grow and change and keep us posted.
I will, Katie, and thank you for all the good work that you and the chamber do, and appreciate you very much. And anything you need, please let me know.
Sounds great. We'll see you soon, Matt. Thanks
Thank
for joining
you.
us.
Bye-bye.
And thank you so much for joining us today. I see my comment from one of my my chamber friends. Thank you so much. Hope everybody has a great Friday. We appreciate you tuning in and learning a little bit more about some of our amazing local professionals, experts in their field. If there's anything that I can do for you professionally or for your business, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what your Chamber of Commerce is here for. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great weekend. Be well.